අනුත්තරෝ පුරිස ධම්ම සාරති සත්තා දේව මනුස්සානං බුද්ධෝ භගවාති ඉතිපිසෝ භගවා අරහං සම්මා සම්බුද්ධෝ විජ්ජාචර පන්නෝ සුගතෝ ලෝකවිදු අනුත්තරෝ පුරිස ධම්ම සාරති සත්තා දේව මනුස්සානං බුද්ධෝ භගවාති ඉතිපිසෝ භගවා අරහං සම්මා සම්බුද්ධෝ විජ්ජාචරණ සම්පන්නෝ සුගතෝ ලෝකවිදු අනුත්තරෝ පුරිස ධම්ම සාරති සත්තා දේව මනුස්සානං බුද්ධෝ භගවාති සාදු සාදු සාදු. හොඳයි හිඳගන්න. please be seated. More seats are here. Please come forward and take a seat. Please say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu 3 times. Venerable members of the Mahasangha, His Excellencies, the Ambassador, and all the dear friends of the Dhamma. All we gathered here in order to transfer merit toward our Nayaka Mahatero, who passed away 3 months ago. This is 3rd month remembrance ceremony. Today, English Dhamma talk, and tomorrow, Sinhala Dhamma talk, 7:30 same time. And day after tomorrow, there will be a offering, dana ceremony. On behalf of all the Vihara monks, I would like to warmly and also kindly welcome all of you. In this evening, this Dhamma talk given by Venerable Dr. Surakulame Pemaratana, Thero from Pittsburgh Buddhist Vihara. And I think 1 month ago, I talked with that Hamdruo, and he promised definitely I will come to give a Dhamma talk today. And accepting our invitation, Dr. Surakulame Pemaratana Thero, again I would like to welcome on behalf of our supporters and also all the Vihara monks. So now I would like to invite Venerable Kurunagoda Dhammaloka Thero to conduct the offering Buddha Puja. Please again say Namo Sadhu Sadhu 3 times and say Namo Tassa to observe 5 precepts.
Please repeat after me. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Pānāti pātā vēramaṇī sikkhapaдаṃ samādhiyāmi. Adinādāna vēramaṇī sikkhapaдаṃ samādhiyāmi. Kāmesu miccācārā vēramaṇī sikkhapaдаṃ samādhiyāmi. Musāvādā vēramaṇī sikkhapadaṃ samādhiyāmi. Surāmeraya majjapamā daṭṭhānā vēramaṇī sikkhapadaṃ samādhiyāmi. Tisaranena saddhiṃ pañcasīlaṃ dhammaṃ sādhukaṃ surakkhitāṃ kattvā appamādena sampādeta. The Most Venerable Mahasangha, dear devotees and friends of the Dhamma, in order to transfer merits to the Most Late Venerable Kurunagoda Sri Piyatissa Nayaka Mahathera, now we are going to offer the Buddha Puja. Now you have observed 5 precepts and been in a virtuous ground. We are going to offer this Buddha Puja. Majority of you have seen and practiced together with Late Venerable Nayaka Mahathero at this temple whenever you visit here. You might remember, no matter how many times people come separately, maybe even 100 times certain days from morning to evening as different groups. If the Most Venerable Nayaka Mahathera was here, he would separately conduct for each and everyone, whenever they come here, Buddha Puja ceremonies and all the chanting and everything. He knew the value of offering this kind of Buddha Puja. Whenever you offer even something small, thinking about the great qualities of the Buddha, you would get the benefit the same way as you have offered something to the living Buddha. So, same way, let's pay homage now also, as you used to pay homage together with the Most Venerable Nayaka Hamduro, so that the merits that we acquire by offering this Buddha Puja may go towards Venerable Nayaka Hamduro, and may his sansaric journey be peaceful, and may he make all these meritorious power for the betterment of many other living beings, the same way as he did in this life as the Venerable Nayaka Hamduro. In the future more lives, so that he would be able to help us, guiding us through this spiritual path towards Nibbanic happiness for all of us. So thinking about the great qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, let's pay homage by reciting Gathas all together and offer the Buddha Puja. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස ඉතිපිසෝ භගවා අරහං සම්මා සම්බුද්ධෝ විජ්ජාචරණ සංපන්නෝ සුගතෝ ලෝකවිදු තරෝ පුරිස ධම්ම සාරති සත්තා දේව මනුස්සානං බුද්ධෝ භගවාති ස්වාක්කාතෝ භගවතා ධම්මෝ සංදෙට්ඨිකෝ අකාලිකෝ හෙහි පස්සිකෝ ඕපනයිකෝ පච්චත්තං තබ්බෝ විඤ්ඤෝහිති සුපටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ සාවක සංඝෝ උජුපටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ සාවක සංඝෝ ඥායපටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ සාවක සංඝෝ සාමීචිපටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ සාවක සංඝෝ යදිදං චත්තාරි පුරිස යුගානි අට්ඨ පුරිස පුග්ගලා ඒස භගවතෝ සාවක සංඝෝ ආහුනේයෝ පාහුනේයෝ දක්ඛිනේයෝ අංජලි කරණීයෝ අනුත්තරං සාරප්පදිත්තේන දීපේන තමදංසිනා තිලෝකදීපං සම්බුද්ධං පූජයාමි තමුනුදං ගන්ධ සම්භාරයුත්තේන දූපේනහං සුගන්ධිනා පූජයේ පූජනීයං තං පූජා භාජන මුත්තමං වන්නගන්ධ ගුණෝපේතං ඒතං කුසුම සංතතින් පූජයාමි මුනිං දස්ස සිරිපාද සරෝරුහේ පූජේමි බුද්ධං කුතුමේන නේන පුඤ්ඤේන මේතේන ච හෝතු මොක්ඛං පුප්පං මිලායාති යථා ඉදම්මේ කායෝ තථායාති විනාශ භාවං අනන්ත ඥානෝ විමලෝ දක්ඛිනේයෝ ගුණාකරෝ පතිගන්හාතු භගවා දක්ඛිනෝදක මුත්තම අද්ධිවාසේතුනෝ භන්තේ ගිලාන පච්චයං ඉමං අනුකම්පං උපාදාය පතිගන්හාතු උත්තම අද්ධිවාසේතුනෝ භන්තේ ගිලාන පච්චයං ඉමං අනුකම්පං උපාදාය පතිගන්හාතු උත්තම අද්ධිවාසේතුනෝ භන්තේ ගිලාන පච්චයං ඉමං අනුකම්පං උපාදාය පතිගන්හාතු උත්තම සුගන්ධං සීතලං කප්පං පසන්න මధుරං සුභං පානීයමෙතං භගවා පතිගන්හාතු උත්තම වන්දාමි චේතියං සබ්බං සබ්බඨානේසු පතිට්ඨිතං සාරීරික ධාතු මහා බෝධින් බුද්ධ රූපං සකලං සදා කායේන වාචා චිත්තේන පමාදේන මයා කතං අච්චයං කමමේ භන්තේ බුරේ පඤ්ඤ තථාගත කායේන වාචා චිත්තේන පමාදේන මයා කතං අච්චයං කමමේ ධම්ම සංදෙට්ඨක අකාලික කායේන වාචා චිත්තේන පමාදේන මයා කතං අච්චයං කමමේ සංඝ සුපටිපන්න අනුත්තර සාදු 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 ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවානාගා මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤං තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරං රක්ඛන්තු ලෝක සාසනං ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවානාගා මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤං තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරං රක්ඛන්තු ලෝක සාසනං ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවානාගා මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤං තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරං රක්ඛන්තු ලෝක සාසනං ඉදම්මේ ඥාතේනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ ඉදම්මේ ඥාතීනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ ඉදම්මේ ඥාතේනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ දේවෝ වස්සතු කාලේන සස්ස සම්පත්ති හෝතු ච පීතෝ භවතු ලෝකෝ ච රාජා භවතු ධම්මිකෝ ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ සතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිබ්බාන පත්තියා ඉදම්මේ පුඤ්ඤං ආසවක්ඛයාවහං හෝතු සබ්බ දුක්ඛා පමුංචතු සාදු 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 By observing 5 precepts, being on a virtuous ground, you have done great meritorious deed. By offering Buddha Puja, by offering flowers, candlelights and incense sticks to the Buddha, recalling Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha's good qualities, by controlling and taming your verbal, physical and mental activities, you already acquired great deal of merits. We will transfer these merits toward our Nayaka Mahathero who passed away 3 months ago, and all other living beings, and all your departed relatives, including merits from you, we will transfer and share these merits and all the deities, and may all living beings attain ultimate bliss of Nibbana. Having that aspiration, please say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu 3 times. Friends, one main things I forgot to mention at the very beginning. Today this Dhamma talk, main sponsors are our youth society teenagers, and they are our members, youth society, organized and also arrange everything. And so I would like to thank and bestow merits.
Let us say sadhu 3 times. Samanta Chakravalesu Atra Gacchantu Devata Saddhamang Munirajassa Sunantu Sagga Mokkadang Dhammasavana Kalo Ayang Bhadanta Dhammasavana Kalo Ayang Bhadanta Dhammasavana Kalo Ayang Bhadanta Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Yoca vantaka savassa silesu susamahito upeto dhamma saccena save kasava marhati ti. Most venerable members of the Mahasangha and dear devotees and friends in the Dhamma, and especially dear children. 3 months have been passed since the demise of our great teacher. But the memory is very alive in our minds, and even his presence is very alive in this place. So we have gathered here to commemorate him and to honor him, and also to reflect his example, his teachings, and again to generate confidence in our own practice in this Dhamma. And I am very grateful for this invitation, and it is a great honor actually to be here in this place. And I'm very thankful to all the venerable monks, including most venerable Aludgama Dhammajyoti, Mahathero, and other monks, for inviting me, because this is a very special moment for me also. Whenever we think about our Nayaka Hamaduru, so many pleasant thoughts arise in our mind. His memory, his image, and his voice, all this, even his very conduct, everything can generate such a wholesome, peaceful thoughts in our mind. And so much to learn from such a great monk. And you are so lucky. You are so fortunate to have such a great teacher around you most of the time, to learn from him, to be around him, is such a great blessing. Because our Nayaka Hamduru, most venerable Dr. Kurunagoda Pedis Nayaka Hamduru, is one of the most exemplary monks lived in recent history. And he's also an erudite monk, and he's also very compassionate monk. I think his compassion shines more than his deep understanding and his other skills. So I think you were so lucky to benefit from his compassion, his simple talk and his simple guidance, and even his simple blessings can bring so much peace and solace to our mind. So I was also very fortunate to receive his compassion and benefit from his compassion. My first encounter with him was in 2006 when I first visited to the US. And our Nayaka Hamduru is the first senior monk that I met. That was my first meeting. But he treated me as if he knew me for a long, long time. I think most of you also have similar experience. Whenever you visit Nayaka Hamduru, he gave us such a close attention, such a close care. And he has such a close attention and compassion. He knew and even he remembers most of our details of our life. Even though you come and see him after many years, he still remembers your work, your family members, issues you had, and he will able to ask you. Such a clear memory because of his such great compassion. And so when I met him 2006, and he was so compassionate, kind, and in his room, he spent a lot of time to give me very important advice. He taught me how, as a young monk, I should train myself, what are the things I should be careful of in my training, and he encouraged me to continue my studies and training and practice. And so that was such a piece of advice, like gems for me. Of course, 2 years later, I was invited by Pittsburgh Buddhist Center to serve here. And then since then, I regarded our Nayaka Hamduru as one of my mentors, and always like to come and see him and receive his advice and blessings. And of course, I live a little far away, so I couldn't make frequent visits as I wished. But his advice, his blessings, have always been guidance for me. And that is why I told you that you are so lucky to be close to him. There are so many other monks, so many other people who like to be in the proximity of him. And not only me, there are other monks living in the East Coast and the Midwest and many parts of the US. Look towards Nayaka Hamduru. And we all want to be around him. We all want to receive advice and blessings from him. But you are so lucky you had that. You will not understand how lucky you are now. Because maybe you will understand later, when you do not have such a presence of such a great teacher now. But when the more we think about our Nayaka Hamduru, the more we become amazed about his great skills and his ability to relate to others. And of course, our Nayaka Hamduru are the Nayaka Hamduru and the other monks who came to the US in early period are the ones who actually created the foundation, created the environment for us and other monks to come and serve here. Nayaka Hamduru came to the US in 1981 after serving in England. And when he started his mission here, many people, particularly general public here, they were not aware of monks. They were not aware of much about Buddhism. So sometimes they may even be suspicious about this robe and garments. And I think many of you already know what kind of difficulties and challenges that Nayaka Hamdru has to go through in order to establish this awareness of who are the monks, what is Buddhism, and what are the monks' rules, and what are the monks' behavior. So Nayaka Hamdru spent such a difficult time passing this message to the common public and to create that impression of monks. And we, the young, later generations of monks, are benefiting from the hard work and the difficulties that this Nayaka Hamdru has to go through, because he has to expose to all kind of challenges, all kind of criticism, all kind of mistreatments from some group of people, because they didn't know who were the monks. But Nayaka Hamdru went through all these things and had the patience to take all these difficulties and challenges and proved to the common public that the monks are not dangerous, and monks are compassionate, and monks are beneficial. Monks are not like a strange people, and they are kind, you can talk to them. And so now we are actually receiving the benefits of that hard work of Nayaka Hamdru's. So therefore we are so grateful for that generation of monks, particularly Nayaka Hamdru, for coming and spending time with the common public here, and then establishing that, creating that positive image of the monk. Now as monks, right now, we have no fear of going to a public place, going to a gathering, and because now there's a positive image of monks. It didn't come automatically. Some monks has to go through all these difficulties and take all these challenges and have to establish that good image by behaving so. So Nayaka Hamdru did that. Therefore we are benefiting from that image. So we can go to any place and then talk about Buddhism, and then we feel safe, thanks to Nayaka Hamdru and the other first generation of monks. So we are so grateful. And of course, Nayaka Hamdru has left such a great legacy for all of you, and this beautiful vihara, this beautiful temple is one important legacy. And you cannot find such a beautiful temple in North America. This is one of its kind. So this is a great legacy, and also the community Nayaka Hamdru built around this vihara is a great legacy. But one thing I always remember is actually his contribution, his role in making the Vesak Day, the birthday of the Buddha, the Vesak Day, the day that we celebrate Buddha's birth, enlightenment, and passing away, the Vesak as an international recognized holiday. And Nayaka Hamdru is the one who actually started this whole project, and it is in his mind that this thought arose first. And then he was able to somehow get the help from all other people and finally get the UN resolutions. And then nowadays we have that holiday, UN recognized holiday, international recognized holiday. Now there are celebration of that holiday in many of the Southeast Asian countries. So that is one of the legacies of Nayaka Hamdru. So whenever Vesak comes, we remember Nayaka Hamdru's role and his contribution, dedication to make this day international recognized day. But more than anything else, actually, what really come out from his life, as I mentioned earlier, is his compassion, his ability to relate to others. I think today we should reflect on his life and try to learn from his life. How he was able to relate to so many people in his life, how he was able to influence so many people in a positive way. And we should really think and then reflect his life and learn that skill from him. And yes, he has such a great skill to relate to people, and you can almost call that, he has such a great skills of public relations. We call PR, right? PR skills. So many people learn PR or public relations skills, as a profession to, promote their company, promote whatever their products. But the Nayaka Handru's skills of public relations came from a deeper place. Not for profit, not for as a way of, marketing, but from a deeper place. He was able to relate to each and every one of us from a deeper place. He was paying attention to our needs, our concerns, and he was able to give his advice and blessings. So that is the quality that I would like to pay attention to, that what we can learn from him, the skills for relationships, how to relate to others. Because relationships are a very important part of our life. In order to be successful in our life, we should be able to relate to others very smoothly. We have, we are social animals. We have relationships. We are born into a family, so we have relationships within our family. Then we go out and we build relationships with others. We have all kinds of relationships. We have like work relationships, and we have other intimate relationships. Life is all about relationships. But how we actually build those relationships, how we maintain those relationships is the basis how meaningful, how happy our life is going to be. So therefore, I'd like to pay some attention to the example of Nayaka Hamudru and how he relates to other people, and then of course also refer to some teachings of the Buddha that we can use to enhance our relationships. Enhance our relationships with our family members. Enhance our relationships with people that we work with, our colleagues. And enhance our relationship with anyone. Because that's going to decide, the quality of our life. That's such a great lesson we can learn from Nayaka Hamudru. So whenever I think about Nayaka Hamudru, how he presents himself to others, how he treats others, I remember, the qualities of the Buddha himself. There's one interesting discourse, one interesting sutra, where the Buddha's, one of the person who learned from the Buddha, he made some remarks about the Buddha. There was a person called Sonadanda. He was a debater. He was a very intelligent person, very learned person, but he has his habit of going around and debating with other teachers, and his name was Sonadanda. But after he met the Buddha, he transformed his life. He had a completely different impression of the Buddha. And many teachers that he went to was ready to argue with him, and they have heated arguments. But when he came to the Buddha, he was tamed by the Buddha, not necessarily through a very strong argument, but from a different way. Of course, Buddha was able to present his point and his teachings also. But he was able to impress him with other qualities. And later he made a remark describing the way that Buddha relates to other people. So this phrase goes like this. Samano khalu bhoghotama ehi sagata vadi sammodako sakilo pubba bhasi. These are the Pali phrases where he described the nature of the Buddha. So I will explain you one by one how he actually explained. So the first quality, he said that the Gautama, the Buddha, this religious teacher is like this. First quality is ehi sagata vadi. The general meaning is that it's always like welcoming. It's always the attitude of welcoming. He's ready to meet people. He's always, like to be with people and always welcoming and inviting. Ehi sagatavadi, like asking people to come and inviting and welcoming. And Buddha has such a great open mind that he is willing to meet people and is always welcoming others. And not like to be like his own closet, like own, cage, but it's like open to talk and learn from others and open to talk and relate to others. So that attitude, ehi sagatavadi. I think Nayaka Hamudru also had that quality that Buddha had. He's always willing to welcome people. And no matter how tired he is, he's still, he still welcome anyone coming to meet him with a fresh mind. Just now, I think Dhammaloka Hamaduru just mentioned that how, when he was in the shrine room, and he might have like blessed 100 people, but if you come as the 100 and the first person, and he will have the same attention and same caring for you, he will be able to do that blessing. So that is the quality that Buddha had. I think Nayak Hamaduru also had that quality of welcoming attitude. And the second one is called Sammodako. Modaka, Sammodaka, mudita means happiness. So Sammodaka. And Buddha had this quality of always making the person happy. Whoever meets the Buddha will end the meeting with happy mind. So people will come with all kind of sorrows, all kind of disappointments, all kind of pains in their heart. But when they come to the Buddha, when they had the encounter with the Buddha, when they talked with the Buddha, and the meeting with the Buddha made all these people happy and pleasing and pleasant. I think you may have the same experience with Nayak Hamaduru. You may come to Nayak Hamaduru with so much problems in your mind, so much sadness in your mind, so much disappointments in your mind. But the moment you talk with him, with his guidance and also with his attention and care, and you feel happy and you feel light-hearted, you feel released. So that's Sammodako. And so I think we should also learn how many people who meet us and will depart from us with a happy mind. Are we make people happy when they meet us, or are we making people unhappy when they meet us? What is our quality? Are we skillful enough to make people happy, or make people make people happy as a result of our meeting? And how we relate to others, and what kind of impact we can make to others? How skillful we are. These are the good lessons we can learn from Nayak Hamaduru. It is not easy. It is not easy. Of course, we may not be able to please everyone, definitely, but we can make a good impact on others if we really develop this skill. Nayak Hamaduru had that quality. The next one is called Sakhilo. Sakhilo means friendly. And the Buddha was so friendly. The way he speak and way he addressed other people, he was very friendly. So this Sonadanda is saying to the Buddha, he was Sakhilo, friendly. He has a friendly speech. He has a friendly way of relating to others. So friendliness also related to metta or maitri. That's the other quality. Of course, I don't need to tell you that how friendly was Nayak Hamaduru. And those are all related qualities like welcoming and making people happy and then friendly. And one other important quality is called Abbha Kutiko, which means not frowning. The facial expression, Abbha Kutiko. Because sometimes our face is expression of our state of the mind. If you are fearful, your face will tell it. If you are sad, your face will tell it. But the Sonadanda was talking about the Buddha, how Buddha was not frowning, like not having a sad mood all the time, but like really in his facial expression, in his countenance, he was able to like express his inner peace, inner happiness with his face. Of course, among the monks that I have seen, our Nayak Hamaduru has one of the most serene face. Most serene face, and such a, like Abbha Kutiko, and he was not frowning at all any time. Right? He's such a pleasant countenance and pleasant ambience. He has such an aura of loving kindness all the time, and that can inspire people. And Buddha had such quality, Nayak Hamaduru had such quality. And that countenance, that ambience, that aura is not coming easily. You have to have a year-long practice to have such influence, such impact on others. And the other one is called Utthana Mukho. And Buddha is always facing up. Passive up means looking at the person. Uttahana mukho, like, because sometimes we can be looking down and not really facing people, and we can always like avoid people. And the Sonadanda explains the nature of the Buddha is always engaging with people, like with this look also, looking at people and talking with people, and always ready to like keeping his head up, not head down. Uttana mukho, uttana means up, mukho means face. Uttana mukho, always head up and ready to engage, looking at the people with kind eyes, and that quality. And the one that I really like among these qualities is called Pubba Bhasi. Pubba Bhasi, the Sonadanda is saying that Buddha is always Pubba Bhasi, which means first to speak. First to speak. Like when in any meeting, any encounter, the Buddha was first to speak. Sometimes when we meet others, we wait other person to speak. We see, how other person is going to, initiate the conversation, how the other person is going to respond to me. Then I will decide how I will respond. If that person responds pleasantly, I will respond in kind. If the other person is not responding to me unkindly, I will also respond in that way. So we kind of wait to see what is the other person's response. But in the case of the Buddha, Buddha was the first to speak. He didn't wait other person to set the scene, set the tone. Buddha was first to speak. He was humble enough. And sometimes even when we had some issues in our relationships, we wait other person to speak and come and say sorry, right? We don't we are not humble enough sometimes to go and speak first. But in the case of the Buddha, he was first to speak, Pubbabhasi. And he will initiate the discussion. He will initiate the conversation. He was not like prideful or conceited and wait the other person come and talk to him. Buddha will talk first, and he will start the conversation. So those are the great qualities that that Sonadanda was talking about the Buddha. So when I think about these qualities, our Nayaka Hamduru is such a great embodiment of these qualities. And he was definitely a genuine son of the Buddha. So the other name for monks is called sons of the Buddha. The monks are sons of the Buddha. We call Buddha Putra or Buddha Putra. So our Nayaka Hamduru is a genuinely real son of the Buddha because he had all these qualities that Buddha had. So what we can learn from him. So if we can develop these qualities in our life, maintaining such a pleasant face all the time. But in order to have such a pleasant face, we need to have a pleasant heart. In order to have a pleasant heart, we should have a practice. We should, learn skills how to maintain such a good heart and not always being conditioned by the environment, but actually maintaining an inner peace within us. We need such a great practice in order to have that. But today I would like to bring your attention to some of the teachings of the Buddha about relationships, how we can grow our relationships in a healthy way. I think we have to look at our relationships as an opportunity to learn. Because sometimes our general understanding, general attitude about relationships, we think that relationships are to make ourselves happy. We start a relationship in order to make ourselves happy. So we think that relationships are sources of happiness. So the main purpose of relationships is to have some happiness. That is the normal understanding. So therefore, whenever we are in a relationship, either in our family, our partners, our friends, so we expect the other party to make us happy. Because we think that relationships are primarily for happiness. Therefore, the other person should make me happy. So we wait other person to make us happy, and we expect other person to make us happy. So in our relationships, we look and we wait and we expect other person, other party to make us happy. But you already know that's not going to happen all the time. But I think from the Buddhist perspective, we need to understand our relationships are not always about happiness. Mainly, we need to look at our relationships as an opportunity to learn. Primarily, our relationships are moments of learning, opportunity to learn. When you look at our relationships in that way, it becomes much easier for us to maintain a relationship and eventually make our relationships happy ones. If we start our relationships as a way to be happy, you will be disappointed and our relationships will not be healthy. But if we start our relationships as a way of learning, a learning of ourselves and also learning of others, and also learning in the process how to maintain a smooth relationship. Learning about us. Relationships are good opportunities for us to learn about us. Because in a relationship, when we relate to other people, maybe with your parents, with your family members, with your friends, partners, whoever, in a relationship, we learn more about ourselves. Because when we are with someone, certain aspect of us will come out. When you are with your parents, one part of you come out. When you are with a friend, another part of you come out. When you are with a colleague, another part of you come out. So when you are with different people, different aspects of our personality will come out. So our relationships are like mirrors. They allow us to see ourselves clearly. They allow us to see different aspects of us clearly. So we should use our relationships to learn first more about ourselves. That's the first part of learning, who we are. And you may think that you are a very patient person until you find a really difficult person to be with. Then you learn, I thought that I was a patient person, but when you have a really difficult boss to deal with, and then you realize that, oh no, that is not the case. I still have some work to do. And so I think we should use our relationships. Whenever you are with somebody, reflect on your own mind. What aspect of me is coming out now? The hidden part of you that you didn't see. So with our relationships, we can learn more about ourselves. And so don't treat any relationships as like something we should be afraid of. Any difficult relationships can also help us to understand certain aspect of us that will come out. Otherwise, we may not see that aspect of ourselves. So it's about learning about our tendencies, learning about our unconscious assumptions, learning about all about us, like a mirrors, like telling about us. I mean, if you don't have such a difficult relationship, you will never learn about yourself. So when we focus on that, that's an opportunity to learn, and then we can grow. We can learn about us, we can learn about some patterns, some behavioral patterns in us, how we respond to things, certain patterns, certain tendencies, habits, and we learn about those things. Some habits are good habits, some habits are not very good habits, some tendencies are not very healthy tendencies. We learn about them. And then we can learn, after you learn about them, and then you can actually you can pay more attention, not to repeat those patterns, and be aware of those patterns, and weaken those patterns by not repeating them. The more we repeat certain kind of response, the more we repeat certain kind of patterns of behavior, they become stronger and stronger and stronger, ultimately become your character. But the moment you become aware of certain patterns, certain habits, like, let's say if you think that you are very quick to react, and you learn that, I'm so quick, I'm short-tempered, and you become aware of that pattern. And the next time the moment you become aware of that urge, you will observe it, you will not really suppress it, but simply become aware of it, and you feel that whole urge coming in your mind, but you don't really express it, repeat it. You're not suppressing it, you let it arise in your mind, but you don't make it to a word or action. By simply observing that whole urge arising and coming, becomes so powerful in your mind, and then you watch all this urge and sensation related to it, what is happening in your body, and then naturally it will go down. And once you do that observation, you actually weaken that pattern of reaction. weaken that pattern of habits, and then we can gradually change our life. So relationships are about learning. First, learning about ourselves, and also learn about others. When we're in a relationship, the people who are related to our life, everyone has some good quality that we can learn, that we can be inspired by. Everyone is a package. We all have goodness. We all also have, what is the other one, opposite to goodness? Maybe weaknesses. We don't call it, let's not call them bad qualities, but weaknesses. They still, things to, grow. We have goodnesses and we also have weakness. We have strengths, we have weaknesses, and we have, we have faults also. But if we focus on the goodness of that person, and if you focus on that, we can actually, if we can relate to that person from that goodness point, we can actually help that person to improve that quality, and also we can appreciate that person, and we can have a good relationship. So particularly, what happened in our family and in our, other, relationships, whenever we see a good quality in other person, we are very silent. We don't even talk about it. The moment you see some weakness, some fault, some misbehavior, and then we really react. There's a disproportionate way we react to goodness and weaknesses. Whenever we see a weakness, we are quick to react. Sometimes we react very harshly. Whenever we see some good quality in another person, we are very silent, very stingy even to express that person. If we really want to change someone, begin to appreciate whenever these people are behaving well. If you see a little goodness, some maybe, person didn't have much goodness, always like, really relationship is really painful. But once in a while, you somehow see some good reaction, some good response. Use that opportunity. Talk about it. Acknowledge that goodness. Praise it. Don't bluff, don't wrongly appreciate, but wait for an actual good action, good moment, good words, and appreciate that moment genuinely. The more you do it, you will see the more of that good responses will be more and more and more. It is like watering the plants. If you have a flower garden, you have flowers, and you will also have, other than flowers, what you will get in your flower garden? Weeds. You have flowers and weeds. That is very common. In the same way, anybody's life, there will be goodness and also weaknesses. And what will grow is what you will water, right? If you water flowers, the flower will grow. If you water the weeds will grow. So in our relationships, if you are only reacting to the weakness of the person, always blaming and complaining about that weakness, you're actually relating from the wrong side. Of course, we need to help people to understand their weaknesses. But if you pick goodness in the people and try to appreciate that, it's like watering the flowers. The more you appreciate, more you acknowledge, even very rare moments of goodness, very rare good responses, and that the person will gradually, naturally will grow those responses, like watering the flower. So about learning. So we can learn about others, be inspired by their goodnesses, and also we can learn through others. Whenever we find some difficulty in a relationship, that difficulty is not only point to a weakness of the other person, but that difficulty also point to our own personality, that there are some areas in my personality that I still need to work through. So it's not only about the other person, it's also about us also. Like what else I can do to make this smooth. So any difficulty is also pointing to us that there are more work to do in my own way I relate to that person. But sometimes we need to have such an attitude of acceptance there is something that we can also learn from Naika Hamduru, that sometimes we have to accept the other person as he is or he is. Because, and we need to learn how to some way to accommodate that. Because if you closely look at on yourself, we know that in our life, we have strengths, we have goodnesses, we have weaknesses and faults too. And first, you need to develop an attitude of acceptance to ourselves. And of course, we should grow and we should develop our good qualities. But as a person, when you recognize your own weaknesses, don't try to blame yourself. We are still in the path of progress. The Buddha said that we are all we are still in progress and we are still not a finished product. We are still in the making. We are moving towards the enlightenment. So it is common, it is natural that we may have certain weaknesses and strengths too. But we need to first accept us. Not to blame any of our weaknesses, but to accept us and have that attitude of compassion to ourselves and then make a determination to change them. Once we have such a good relationship with ourselves, understanding and accepting our strengths and also weaknesses, that is real meaning of loving kindness, metta. Have such a good relationship with ourselves. Not to wait ourselves to be perfect to love us, but love us with our imperfections. And then allow us to grow, but first accept us. And once we have such a strong, such a healthy relationship with ourselves, that will give us a good foundation to relate to others. Because if we can accept ourselves with our imperfections and weaknesses, and also strength and goodnesses, that will help us to relate to others also with their weaknesses too. Of course, we have to have compassion to help them to grow, but not like always have the attitude of criticism, attitude of blaming. I recently read a nice story. This is a Chinese story. In ancient time, when people need water, they have to carry the water. Of course, nowadays we have running water, right? When you open our water tap, we get the water. Do we know where we get our water from? Do we know what are the sources of water? That you just, whenever you want water, you go and open the tap, right? And the water comes from somewhere. But actually, it's not somewhere, right? Someone has to, there's a whole effort has to be made behind that. So nowadays, our culture is we have so much facilities, we even do not know what are the sources of our water. But we have to be aware where this water is coming from. And many people are working so hard to give us drinking water. And this drinking water, whenever we open our tap, is a luxury. Many people are all around the world may not have that luxury. Some people have to spend hours to get drinking water. They have to travel miles to get water. But for us, it's very simple, right? So we should appreciate that and acknowledge that never waste any drop of water, because this is a rare, it's a precious thing for us. So those days, people had to carry the water even they want water. So this Chinese person, he lived in the top of a mountain. And whenever, for his daily use, he had to carry the water from the bottom of the mountain. So in the bottom of the mountain, there was a well. So he had these 2 pots that he tied into a pole, and he will carry that water over his shoulder or across his neck. So he will go down every morning and take the water from the well and fill these 2 pots, and it's hanging on the 2 sides of the pole, and then he carry that pole over his neck, and he will carry that water all the way to the mountain. He has to do it every day for his daily use. Between these 2 pots, one pot has a crack. So when the pot has a crack, what's going to happen? Yeah, the pot will leak, right? So he filled these 2 pots of water and climbed all the way to the mountain. By the time he reached the top of the mountain, his home, one pot is full, the other pot is half full, because all along the way, the pot has been leaking the water. But he didn't care. He didn't care. He used the same 2 pots. Every day he will fill 2 pots. He will climb up. By the time he reached, he only had 1.5 pot of water. But he was okay with that. So 2 years passed. According to this story, these 2 pots start to talk. 2 pots start to talk. The pot that has no crack was so prideful about his accomplishment because he was able to deliver water without wasting any drop of the water. So he was so happy with his job. He's very happy. And the other pot with the crack was quite upset. According to this story, the pot with the crack told the person, I'm very sorry. I have a crack. Therefore, water is leaking. So I could not do a good job for you. You carry me all the way from the bottom of the mountain all the way up, but I was only able to give you half of the water. I'm very sorry. I'm ashamed of myself. I'm very sorry for not doing a good job for you. But then this person told the pot, don't worry at all. Didn't you see that the side that you are hanging on, all along the way, there are flowers? Because this this person used to carry these 2 pots, and he made sure that he's hanging the pot with the crack in one side every day. He asked the pot, didn't you see there are flowers all along the side that you were hanging? Because I knew from the beginning you had a crack. Therefore, what I did, I planted seeds of flowers all along that side of the path. So every day, when you are carrying you are leaking the water, but at the same time, you are actually watering the flowers. So now, the side that you are hanging has full of flowers. That path is so beautiful. So do not worry. It's okay to have a crack. So he was telling the pot not to be upset about the crack, because sometimes it's okay to have a crack. The farmer was skillful enough, intelligent enough to accommodate that fault, accommodate that imperfection, and make use of it for a good purpose. He just planted the seeds of flowers all along the way, so that leaking water can do a better, can fulfill another purpose. Sometimes our relationships are like that. Some people may have some faults, some weaknesses. We may not be able to correct them. If we have attitude of correcting them and teaching them a lesson, our life is going to be so horrible, so full of suffering. But if you learn where to accommodate them, of course we can help them to grow, but learn to accommodate them, just like this person. The pot with the crack was not a problem for him. Of course, he only got the 1.5 pot of water at the end, but he was able to accommodate it and somehow accommodate and use it. So don't worry about so much faults and weaknesses in your family members. Sometimes they are natural, and we have to learn how to make use of them. And of course, that very kind approach can help them to grow also. And the other one is actually very important part of our relationship is actually how we communicate, how we talk to others. I remember how our Nayakahandru spoke to me in the first day. How gentle was his speech, and how clear was his speech, and how mindful was he when he was talking. So our communication is a very important part of our relationship. If we do not know how to communicate, how to talk, how to speak, we are in a big trouble. In our family, in our workplace, in our general life, we are in a big trouble if we don't know how to communicate. So Buddha has given us so much guidance how to use our communication in a very skillful way. Of course, right speech is one of the items in the Noble Eightfold Path. There are 8 practices we have to do as Buddhists to improve our spirituality. The path towards the enlightenment has 8 items, right? We call Eightfold Path. Starting with right understanding, right intention, setting right intention, and then right speech, right action, right livelihood, and then right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Those are we call Eightfold Path. That is the path towards the enlightenment, path towards happiness, cessation of suffering. So right speech is a very important part of our practice and also basis of our relationship. So it's very important that we learn how to speak properly. I think when it comes to communication, we only know how to talk to others, but not talk with others. There's a big difference between talk to others and talk with others. Talk to others and talk with others. Talk to others means that we only want to express ourselves. We don't care how other person feel. We don't care what other person is doing. We don't care what other person's level of understanding, what other person's emotional state. We don't care. We just only want to express our point. That is called talk to others. But talk with others is completely different. When you practice of talking with others means that you want to pay attention what this person's state of mind right now. Is he tired now? Is it a good time to talk to this person? What is that person's level of understanding? What is that person's background? So we pay attention to the other person's conditions and environment and then choose how much to talk, what the level of talk, the tone of our talk. That is called talk with others. So what do you do most of the time in your life? Do you talk to others or you talk with others? If you only talk to others all the time, our relationships are going to be very sour. But if you learn how to talk with others, like paying attention to how other persons feel, I think that is what Nayaka Handuru did. He didn't simply want to simply express his point of view to you. He was able to listen to you. He was sensitive enough and mindful enough to understand the listeners, the other person's concerns and background. And therefore he was able to talk with others. That is why he was able to build such a rapport with others, such a good relationship with others. That's a good lesson that we can learn from others. And even when we talk to others, I think as human beings, we are gifted with such a great ability to speak. The human beings are the living beings who have such a skillful, sophisticated way to communicate to others. Like, of course, animals can communicate also, but they have very limited vocabulary, right? But as human beings, we have a very sophisticated language, sophisticated way of communicating. But for some reason, although we have such a sophisticated tool with us, we are not very good at communicating real thing. When we're talking to others, most of the time, we do not know how to communicate what we really want to tell other person. Because when we emotionally get agitated, what we say is not really what we want to say. And let's say, if you in our relationship, if you see someone is doing something that you don't think that is good, maybe your child is doing something, maybe they are playing the games without studying. Maybe you see someone else is doing something else. Maybe they are staying late in the night without sleeping, whatever. When we see some behavior that we don't approve on others, and what happens? We get upset, we get frustrated, we get disappointment. Sometimes we can get angry also. But why we get frustrated? Why we don't like our children to stay late in the night? Why we don't our children to spend most of their time in games? Why? Because we have such a great concern for them. We have such a great love for them. We want them to be really good people and successful people in their life. If we continue to stay late without doing any useful things, continue to play games, and they're not going to have successful lives. So we have such a great concern and love for us. But whenever, I'm getting only an example, it can happen among any other people. So whenever we see behavior in other close people that are not good, we get upset, agitated, but the real reason that we get agitated is our concern and our love. But then we will talk to the person. But when you talk to the person, what we express is not really our concern. What we express is our frustration, is our anger. So most of the time in our relationships, we are not good at expressing what we really want to say. We are not expressing our concerns and love. Most of the time we are expressing our frustration and anger. So that is not what we really want to say. And so if we are not mindful enough, what we will be expressing all the time with our close member of family and other people, all the time is always frustration, our anger. We use certain words, use certain expressions, and that is what we always express. But I think at least once in a while we need to pay attention and be mindful and then bring out that what is really inside of us. Not the outward frustration and anger, but the real concern we have towards other people. And I think most of the time in our relationships, we rarely express our true concerns. We rarely express our true love. We rarely express our true wish for the other person. Most of the time we express our frustration, anger, and disappointments. And as a result, our relationships become so difficult, so not smooth, very rough, very sour. So we need to develop that skill of being mindful about the frustration and take a deep breath and let that frustration go away and then express the real concern. We can be firm, we can be direct, we can be serious, but we are expressing our concern and love and our wish, not the emotional agitation and frustration. That's a very important skill we need to develop. That's the basis of our relationship. And sometimes we also, just like we express our frustration, not the concern and love, when other people start to talk with us, sometimes when they scold us, when they criticize us, when they blame us, complain us, we should also learn to listen to the real concern of the person, not to the outward blame and scolding. And that's a special skill we need to develop. Sometimes people will complain us all the time, but actually sometimes people complain because they have a more deeper need, deeper concerns. But people are not skillful in expressing that need. I have seen that sometimes we have dogs that if the owner, the master is away for a few days, when you come back, some dogs can be really barking, right? And they be really, some dogs are like that. When you're away for a few days, you come back, and then after you come back, instead of really, going and licking you, but some dogs are really barking at you, and really shouting at you because they are so frustrated of your absence. The moment they see you, they start barking and barking and barking. It can really be unpleasant. But somehow, with regard to dogs, if you have such a dog, we somehow know that this dog is barking at me, not out of anger actually, he's frustrated, but actually this dog missed me so much. That is why he's barking. If a person is doing to you, barking and maybe complaining and blaming us in that way, we have hard time understanding the underneath concern and the need. We may understand the dog's needs and concern, but not the people. Sometimes some people may complain you and blame you and nag you. It is unpleasant, like a barking of a dog. But if we can listen not to the outward, complaint, outward, nagging, but inner concerns, inner need, we may be able to relate to that person well, and then improve our relationships too. That's another skill we need to develop. Because Every complaint, every nagging has a deeper need that has not met, deeper concern that has not met. So we need to pay attention to that. So that's an important skill. And there's also a story about a master. There was a spiritual master who had a lot of disciples. So this is also happened in ancient time. They were studying in a monastery. So one day they went to a river. They went to a river. When they were walking towards the river, the master saw there were a family. They have also come to the river, and they were having a discussion. Actually, not a discussion, it's kind of argument. So master and disciples is coming to the river from a distance, but they could actually hear the arguments these families having. They talk to each other with loud voice. And master stopped and turned towards the disciples and asked, "Do you hear the people over there? They were shouting and arguing." And say, "Yes, master, we hear them." And then master asked a question from them. Can you tell me, when people are angry and when people are upset, and why they raise their voice? Why they raise their voice? Because those family members who are talking to each other, and they were sitting close to each other. They could talk to each other with each other in normal voice, but now they are talking so loud even we can hear from this place. So he asked the question, why people raise their voice when they are angry? Why people raise their voice when they are upset? What do you think about it? They may be sitting next to each other, but they talk loud, don't they? When they are angry, although you can close to each other, but we raise our voice. Sometimes we think that, of course, other person will not listen to me unless if I talk really with a loud voice. Sometimes we need to establish authority. Raising the voice can somehow establish the authority. And we may think that if I don't speak loud, other people will not pay attention, whatever. We can have all kinds of reasons. But the master wanted to teach a different lesson to his disciples. So the disciples replied in this way. Maybe they want to be heard, and they want to be, they establish the authority. But then master told them, when people are angry, when people start to mistrust each other, their hearts are going away from each other. When we are angry, when we are mistrustful, when we are not happy with each other, our hearts are moving away and away. So the reason that people have to raise their voice is that because when they're angry, their hearts are very apart. They're far away. So you have to fill the gap. You may be sitting close to each other, but because you're angry, you're not trusting each other, your hearts have gone further away, a corner of the hole. In order to fill the gap, you have to talk loud. So the master told the disciple, the reason that people raise their voice when they're angry, because their hearts are so apart. So you have to speak in the voice that you can reach the other heart, which is very far away. That is why they had to raise their voice. So next time, whenever you talk loud, think about that. The reason that you are raising your voice, your hearts are so apart, further away, sometimes even beyond the neighbors. So you have to talk so loud that even neighbors can hear, and then you have to pass the neighbors to get the other heart hear that, right? So that can happen. Then the master told the disciples, when you start to trust each other, and we have deeper understanding of each other, your hearts are coming closer and closer and closer. When you have a deeper understanding of each other, hearts are so close. Sometimes when the hearts are so close, you don't have to even talk. Whispering is enough. Because hearts are so close, the other heart can hear. There's no much gap for you to fill with a loud voice. Whispering is enough. Sometimes we can bring our relationship to such a close relationship, even you don't have to talk. Other person understand your needs and can respond in that way. So, the more loud we are, further apart our hearts are. Remember that. So we can adjust our mind in that way. I think, so those are the lessons actually we can learn from our great master, our great teacher. I think I remember, our most venerable Nayaka Thero has such a soft voice, such a soft voice. In order to listen to that voice, you really have to be there, pay attention to. I think the reason that he spoke in such a soft voice, that because he regard your heart is so close to him. There's no gap to fill. So he spoke in a very soft voice with such a kindness. There's so much to learn from our Nayaka Handru. I think you will remember his image, his voice, his conduct, his kindness, his deeper understanding and wisdom. And I hope that his memory will continue to guide you. So use his example to improve your relationships. Use your relationships as opportunity for you to grow, opportunity for you to learn, and not as a way to be happy. Of course, when you start as a way of learning, eventually you will be really happy. And relationships can bring you happiness when you start relationships as a way of learning. So I hope that the memory and legacy and pleasant image of Nayaka Handru will always guide us to have good relationships, have a good way to relate to other people with kindness, and have our life very smooth. So I wish that may you all have the blessings of Nayaka Handru to have such a great blessing. May Nayaka Handru continue to guide us, continue to bless us, continue to show us the path towards the enlightenment. Let us say sadhu 3 times. Akasattha ca bhummattha deva naga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu sasanang. Akasattha ca bhummattha deva naga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu desanang. Akasattha ca bhummattha deva naga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu mang paranti. Let us take this moment to genuinely wish that may Nayaka Handru continue to bless us. May all the merits that we accrued right now with this mindful listening to the Dhamma, may all these merits be shared by Nayaka Handru. With the power of these merits, may Nayaka Handru's journey towards enlightenment be speedy, and may he continue to come and help us and guide us in our practice too. May Nayaka Handru achieve the sublime bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Venerable Mahasangha, dear friends of the Dhamma, first of all, I would like to thank and also share merit with Dr. Surakulame Premaratana Thero giving this great Dhamma talk. And also here a booklet. As you know, our Nayaka Mahathero was a great writer. And for the newspapers in Sri Lanka, and also Nayaka Mahathero wrote many books, Dhamma books, and also a lot of articles. Some of articles Nayaka Hamdru didn't published. And so a lot of articles we have. We collected few articles that didn't published, so we make a book. Here, first, we need to thank Sunil Herat Mahatma. He published and printed by himself without any charge. In Sinhala, it says they wrote, Atipujya Kurunēguda Sriya Pītisābhidāna Nāyaka Mahā Swāmindryan Vāhanse visin රචනා කරන ලද විශාල සංඛ්‍යාවක් වූ ලිපිගොනු අතරින් මෙම සංගරාවට ලිපි තෝරා දුන් නිබියෝග බෞද්ධ විහාරවාසී පූජ්‍ය වැයකඳවල තුසිත ස්වාමින් වහන්සේටද පිටකවරේ නිර්මාණය කළ සුරංග පෙරේරා මහතාටද ඉංග්‍රීසි ලිපි සංස්කරණය කළ ඩොක්ටර් ස්ටීව් ඩෑරියන් මහතාටද මුද්‍රණය කළ සුනිල් හේරත් මහතාටද නන් අයුරින් සහාය ලබා දුන් සැමටද පුණ්‍යානුමෝදනා පූර්වක ස්තුතිය පිරිනමමු. These are the helpers and with their dedicating time and energy, these people help us to publish this book. Royal Pandit Kurunēguda Dhammāloka Thero, Venerable Vakandawala Tusita Thero, and published Atula Seneviratna, Chandana Gunatilaka, Sunil Herat, Suranga Pereira, Namal Kuruppu. They are the Reverend Sirs, and also all the other sirs helped to print this book. So I would like to Dhammalok Hamdruo to do and offer these books. Namal Mahatmaya.
Atula Mahatmaya. Kauru sadhu. Please everyone say sadhu.
Super.
මං හිතන්නේ සේරම පිරිසට පොත් තියෙනවා මේ there are both in Sinhala language and in English language about I think altogether 8 articles, poems written by the Most Venerable Nayaka Hamdru and other essays in English. So every one of you would be able to have a copy, and it's not that long, so not that big article, so that every one of you would be able to read this within 1 hour or so.
කවුරු සාදු කියන්නේ? So monks will do the final blessings to each and every one of you. We are very grateful for your presence here. We wish that may you receive the blessings of the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha and the blessings of the Nayaka Hamaduru, and may you be blessed with good health, peace and happiness, and strength and courage to overcome all the difficulties in your life. With these blessings, may you be well, happy and peaceful. Abhivadana silissa niccang buddhapachayino chattaro dhamma vaddanti ayuvanno sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha ato nibbana sampatti iminate samijjatu.
I need to use few words to give thanks toward the people who helped Nayak Hamdru while he was in sick. All of you helped to Nayak Hamdru to get well and be happy, make happy him. And especially Todd Anderson over there. And he visited to the temple on those days at least more than 2 or 3 times every month. And he stayed in front of the Nayaka Hamdru's bed. He read lot of sutras. And before that, he helped to Nayaka Hamdru to translate Jataka story for the children to use. And so again, and here we can see some of our Nayak Hamdru's best friends. And so all of you, I would like to say thanks again and again, again and again. Thank you very much, you are helping. Friends, there are refreshments in the basement. Our youth society children, members and their parents, they prepared and they are inviting all of you to go basement and enjoy with the refreshment. කවුරුත් ගිහිල්ලා ඒට සම්බන්ධ වෙන්න, එය දානයක්. ඒ දානය ලැබෙන පින්ද අපේ නායක හඳුනන වහන්සේට අනුමෝදන් වේවා කියලා අනුමෝදන් කරන්න.